Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. I'm Rob Saunders. Welcome to Workout Wednesday Week 10, where we're going to be doing a risk assessment and keeping our project management theme from last week. We are on Week 10. We had skipped Week 8 actually, so last week should have been Week 9, but we're back on track here with Week 10. So looking forward to showing you guys how to do this challenge. So the first thing we're going to go do is go to phoenixopendata.com. Here they have some risk management claims that have been made to the city of Phoenix. We're actually going to be looking at the last year of data. So what we're going to want to do is actually download both of these files and then obviously filter for 2021. Let's go ahead and download each one of those. I will actually put these in a week 10 folder here. As you can see, these are named slightly differently. So I'm going to actually call this one July 2020 to June 2021 claims. And I'm going to call the other one July 2021 to December 2021 claims. All right, now let's go ahead and load this data in and get started. All right, let's load our data into Power BI. First, we'll use our July 2020 to June 2021 claims. Open that up and just hit load. Let's load our second data set, July 2021 to December 2021. We'll load these claims. And then the first thing that I want to do is actually append these two together. So I'm going to actually click both here and combine under append queries. There's append queries as new. So let's go ahead and append those. So we're appending the 2021 and 2020 data here as two tables as a new query. Let's just edit this and we'll call this risk claims. We'll call it summary because we're actually going to do some summarizing of this data source as well. First thing we're going to go ahead and do is get this in the format that we need to get it in. It will be basically at a cause level. So we want to get to the cause level and then look at claims, cost, and cost per claim. In here, there's a paid bodily injury and a paid property damage. The only payments actually that you'll see are in the paid property damage. So this is going to be our final payout for the claim. And in the cause, it'll tell you what was the reason for that claim. There's other things like categories in terms of cause categories, and then also departments and divisions. For the sake of the simplicity of the challenge, we're just going to work with cause, but feel free to do something interesting with these if you're looking to do something more. But let's go ahead and actually start. The first thing that we'll want to do is look at this claim status. Basically, F is the one that we want to go with. That means that claims are final. There's open, and then I think this is like, I can't remember what R stands for, but F is for final. So let's go ahead and filter for final. The next thing we want to do is go to date of accident. And actually, if you go to add column and you go to date and year, we can actually get a year value and then very quickly filter on just 2021. So now we're working with the data set for the right time frame and for final claims that we wanted to look at. Let's go ahead and group this data set by cause. Our claims are actually going to be the count of rows because there's a claim ID for every row. Let's go to advanced and we'll add cost. Call this total cost. And this will be a sum of the paid property damage column. Let's go ahead and hit OK. Now we have at the cause level with claims and total cost. First thing let's do after this, let's add a new column. Just going to add a custom column, and it's going to be total cost divided by claims, and this is going to be cost per claim. Okay. Oh, misspelled that, so let's go ahead and fix that. The next thing that we're going to do is actually add 2 columns for the scoring for the claim risk and the cost risk. So let's start with the cost risk. Let's go ahead and add a conditional column here. And then what we'll do is we'll say if our cost per claim is greater than 2,000, then we have a score of 3, because that's going to be our biggest risk. If we have a cost per claim that is greater than 500, we'll call this medium. So 2, and then if basically if anything else, we can remove this. We'll have a 1. Okay. Forgot to name it. We were going to call this cost risk. And then let's do the same thing and add a claim risk. So this is claim risk. And if the claims is greater than 10, that's high. That's a 3. Claims is greater than 2, then it's kind of moderate. We'll call that a 2, and otherwise it's a 1. So now we have our data set at the level that we want it with the metrics that we need. All right, now the next thing that I'm going to do is actually start to set up a mapping of our claim risk and our cost risk to some of the values of low, medium, high risk that would exist. So from the actual challenge notes themselves, we're going to have the cost risk, and with that we'll have 1, 2, and 3. And for claim risk, we're going to have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we're going to walk through this. Essentially, this is going to be low and low. So that's low cost and low and medium incidence. If it's a high incidence, let's call it medium. And again, here where the cost is low, our cost is medium, but the incidence is really low. It's basically 1 or 2 incidents. Then we'll go ahead and let's just call this low still. And then as we get up in the number of incidents, the risk gets higher and higher, right? So if we have medium cost, but a whole bunch of times it's happening, it's pretty high risk for each individual incident. And then here, let's go ahead and say medium for low incidence and high cost, and then we'll go high and high here. So this is our, we'll call this, we'll just call this risk matrix. Okay. Then the first thing I'm going to want to do is actually unpivot these columns. And what we'll call that is the cost risk. We'll name this the claim risk. We'll name this value. We'll call it the let's say overall risk. All right, now let's work from here. All right, next thing we're going to do, we're going to actually combine these 2 columns into a code. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. This is the code that we're going to use to reference the boxes we put in Synoptic Panel. So first thing we want to do, let's make these the same type. I prefer text. It'll be a little bit easier to work with. And then I'm going to go to custom column. We're going to just call this risk code. What else to really call it? And that risk code will be the claim risk. And the cost risk. So we're always going to do claim first, cost second. Let's hit OK. So now we have our risk code. Next thing I'd like to do is actually go ahead and start to map in our data. Not every single combination of cost and claim risk is going to have values. So if we want to actually have the data in there to provide a 0 in the instances where there is no data, we're going to actually have to join to this table instead of the cause table. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, to merge these two tables, we're going to merge on the cost risk and the claim risk. So first thing I'm going to do, let's make sure that these are all the same data type. Here we have cost risk and claim risk. They're both text. Let's do the same in this summary table. Okay. Now going back to this risk matrix, again, not every risk combination of claim and cost risk is going to have a value. So we want to join to this table, so then we have nulls for instances where we don't have values. That's going to let us put 0 in the matrix. Otherwise, you just wouldn't have any data to put a 0 there. So we're going to actually left join the risk matrix table to the risk claims summary. So let's combine, go to merge queries. We should have our risk matrix. Let's pull the risk claims summary, and we should be able to say claim risk, cost risk. To do this, we have to hold control to select two different combinations for the join. When we do that, you're going to see that we actually get tables in the rows. Let's go to this expand button. We will not keep cost and claim risk because it would be duplicative. So let's bring in cause, claims, total cost, and cost per claim. And here you can see there are instances where you have nulls. In this case, where cost is medium and claim risk is low, you actually have no data. So we're going to see in that bottom middle part of the quadrant should be a 0. Just a good thing to keep in mind if you're building a risk matrix, make sure that there's the ability to have nulls, or else you'll not be able to put zeros in there. One thing I didn't do and forgot to mention, I'm actually going to re-look at this, and I'm going to take away the column prefix. What that does is it'll just make the column names be a little bit cleaner. So that'll help when we get into the actual dashboarding itself. All right, let's go ahead and close and apply here. You're going to see some relationships. I'd recommend deleting them. I've actually already deleted some of the relationships between them, and I actually hid all the tables except for risk matrix. Doing that's just going to make it cleaner. When we go into the dashboarding, you're going to see that just what we're working with is a lot easier to manage. Here we have claims, total cost per claim. I would actually change this to a number. We can do that in the data modeling, and we can do that actually in the back end. So whatever works. Let's actually jump over to PowerPoint. If you remember Synoptic Panel, what it's going to do is it's going to let you upload an image. It's going to let you make some selections on that image to basically dedicate some containers to a reference. And so we need to make a image file that we can load in. I'm going to provide this to you, but it's worth us maybe going through and trying to do it together as well. So with the table, I think we're going to have a 3x3, and we're going to need 2 more rows and columns, I believe, for what I'd like to do. So let's go ahead and try to make this as square as possible. Again, down here, we're going to have our risks. Let's see here. We're going to have, here is occasional. This is going to be, actually, let's put it here. Occasional, probable, and frequent. And what I'm going to do here is start to build out where's merge? There we go. I'm going to put a incident likelihood here. Then up top here, I'm going to have low cost, medium cost, and a high cost. And then here, I'm going to merge these together. I'm going to call this cost per incident impact. actually put an arrow on both of these. You'll see why in a second. I'm going to take all the shading out of here. So get rid of the shading. Let's make these bold. Center them and that. Let's make that vertical. Again, we'll make this centered. Hold that. This one also we'll want to put this way. Again, we just want to make this as nice as we can. So let's go ahead and make these black. We'll make the text white. The same thing here. I like that color. I don't know. And then inside here, let's put the shading as like the lightest gray. Let's go ahead and get a nice border here. We'll do just a border, pin color white. Let's go ahead and do the draw table that way. We'll do borders inside and outside. Let's just do this. There we go. So I'm not going to finalize this because I've got another version of it. I just wanted to show you guys generally how this is made. So I've obviously done this, and we've got a you can see the cost per incident impact here that I need to set up correctly, but it'll look something like this. The finished product actually looks like that. Okay. So how do we, once we have this, what do we do with it? Well, we copy and paste it and then say as an image, and then you can hit save as picture, and you can create this 3x3 scatter background risk assessment. Hit save. And now we have what we need to take into Synoptic Panel. Okay, let's go ahead and go into Synoptic Panel. Here you can go into synoptic.design, hit enter. It's going to take you into the Synoptic Designer. Here we're just going to insert our own path. Remember we had this scatter background risk assessment. We hit open. Let's go ahead and hit control and zoom out. You can use this arrow to move things around. But we're going to be picking these little quadrants here. Not quadrants, but containers. So this little magic wand here, if you see we have low frequency, low cost. So we're going to start here. We're going to actually name these the numbers from our claim and cost. Remember that the claims are first, so it's going to be 1 1, 2 1 3 1 as you move up here, or 1 1 1 2 1 3. So let's go ahead and name that as so, and then if you actually click beyond, it just adds to that number. So here we have 1 1 1 2 1 3. Let's go ahead and change 14 to 2 1 2 2 2 3, and we'll do 3 2. Oh, sorry, 3 1. Delete 3 3 here. And 3 2 3 3. Now what these areas are given these codes, and we're going to use that risk code that we created in the data model to connect to these. So let's export to Power BI. All you have to do here is right click, hit save image as. We're going to actually save it as a SVG document. It's a vector image. So we'll go ahead and hit save. And now we have basically this image. If you go to the source, you can see, well, you can't really see because of the way that's laid out, but if you went into a text editor, it shows how this is all defined, all these quadrants or containers. Okay, let's bring that into Power BI and connect it to the data. All right, as you can see, I've already added Synoptic Panel, but we can go to show you how to do that. If you go to Get More Visuals, type in Synoptic Panel, hit OK, hit Add. Probably going to send an error to me because I already have it. Yep, we'll just say update it. All right, so let's go ahead and click on that. Now, the category, as you look at the data piece here, is going to be the thing that you map to those containers that we had created. So we're going to put in risk code here. And the thing that we're actually going to want as the measure that we show are the number of causes that are falling into each one of those. So I'm going to go with count distinct. So you're going to see the count of cause. It's going to prompt us to load a local file or something from the gallery. I'm going to select the matrix 3x3 SVG we created. And here you can see we've got basically set up for each quadrant. Let's see what the data shows. So if we go in here and we go to data labels, you're going to see actually the first thing that you'll see. Let's change this to 50 and let's put it in the middle. You're going to see those risk codes, right? But I don't want to show that. I want to show the data value. And this is showing actually the number of causes that you have in each row and column of this risk matrix. Here's a problem. If you remember, we actually had a null value in here, and null is actually being counted as a distinct value of this row right here. So we're going to actually have to create a calculated metric here to measure the distinct count of causes, and we will exclude non-blanks from that calculation. So let's go ahead and do that now. As I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and create a new measure. And this measure is really going to be around, let's just start and work our way backwards. It's going to be the distinct count of the cause. And that cause comes from our risk matrix. And that's essentially when we get this, right? But we need to do a calculation on that and a filter. So let's do a calculate distinct count where the cause is not equal to, I think it's blank. Yes. Okay. Now, that's going to give us that distinct count. However, you're going to notice if you just pull that right in, does it not want to work today or what? Let's pull that measure in. You're still seeing a null here, right? So what I'm going to actually do is say, if it is blank, let's call it 0. Otherwise, we'll let it be the value that it is. So here I'm just going to really quickly, this is maybe not the cleanest calculation, but for the sake of time, we'll say if is blank, and we'll do this whole thing, then 0, else let's do the whole thing again. And now you can see we have a 0. So that's where we wanted to get. So this measure is going to be, we'll call this distinct causes. Next thing that we're going to want to do is assign colors to each one of these containers. To do that, we're going to use the overall risk, but right now the overall risk is a text field. In Synoptic Panel, it's a lot easier to assign the actual visual elements of this to a numeric value. If you go to states, if it's a numeric value, you're going to actually be able to assign values for the states. If it's a text value, it shows you like all these values to select. It's just not as easy. So let's go ahead and create just a numeric value for the overall code, we'll just do a new column. We'll say switch, and we'll do the overall risk, and we'll just say when it's low, then I want to have it be 1, medium, I want it to be 2, and when it's high, I want it to be 3. And we'll call this overall risk numeric number. Okay. Now I'm going to actually pull this into the states measure. And then when I go back to the states, I can actually say, hey, I want that when it's equal to 1 to be green. And we'll have to find a decent green color here. Looks pretty decent. A little darker. Okay. State 2. Oh, I made a mistake already. Overall risk needs to be an average. I was wondering why these weren't lighting up. So obviously, if we have multiple causes in there, then the sum is not what we want. So let's go with average. Going back to the data colors, or not the data colors, but the states. Let's assign something for 2. I actually like that yellow, so we'll stick with that. And then we'll do state 3 is, or state C is 3. Actually, this isn't a bad red. Okay, so let's go ahead and stick with that. So now we've actually built a cost matrix. Now we just need to worry about what we're including in the data. A couple things that'd be nice to know, right? Coming over here and saying how many causes, and then what is the number of what is the number of total cost associated with this is always good to know. Because as you start to look at these, right, there's going to be a number of claims and costs associated with each. Might be neat to look at average claims because they are going to be a range. But here we can kind of say what is the average claims in the tooltips, or average cost per claim rather, and then the let's say average claims here. And if you're interested, we can throw in total cost. So now when you hover over, you'll see there's 6 causes. There is an average overall risk of 3, which just makes sense. We have our average of claims is 6, so we have an average of 6 claims. And then we have an average cost per claim of about 3,900 and a total cost of just over 125,000. So good to probably look at maybe cleaning up some of the formatting here. Overall risk number, let's just make that a whole number. Summarize the average. There you go. Learn how to do that. That's how we do it. We will do. Okay, just leave like that. Claims we'll have as a whole number. Cost per claim we'll actually have as $1. And then total cost we'll have as $1. There we go. Okay, finally. All right, let's go ahead and make this a little bit more aesthetic and add some contextual charts. So let's make this a bit smaller. Now that's fine. Let's get rid of the title for this. Let's add a bar chart. One of the things I'd really like to show here, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. One of the things I'd like to do here is show the cause, and then the actual cost per claim. And then the color, I think would be cool to have it be this overall risk. And then in here, the only thing we really have to do in the bars is set the overall risk to high is red, medium is yellow, medium is yellow, and low is green. So we can see these in here. And if I click on that, it doesn't filter yet. So we'll work on the filters here as well, just to kind of start it off. Let's, this one I'd like to filter. And I'm on this one. Oh, I don't want to highlight. Filter. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. So now if I click this, you can see it's filtering through each one. And keep in mind, not always are we going to have values, especially when we're in like the low cost, because most of these, actually all of them right here, don't actually have any cost associated with them. So let's go ahead and clean this up a bit. We'll go to the x-axis. Let's get rid of that. Let's actually, oops, I want to keep the y-axis. I don't want to keep that title. I do want to give a little bit more space here. All right, let's add a data label. And let's put that outside and inside end. Yeah, that's fine. Looks good. Let's actually make it black. Let's make it bold. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And let's actually get rid of that x-axis. I don't need it. Let's get rid of the title. Let's go to the regular title here. Cost per claim by cause and overall risk. That's pretty good. We'll leave that. Let's say cost per claim by cause. Make it a little bit bigger maybe. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and create another chart. All right, let's go ahead and add a scatter plot. In here, let's put claims as our y-axis. It'll be the incidence. That kind of matches what we have in our matrix here, and we'll put cost per claim in the x-axis. Total cost can be the size, the values would be the claims, and then let's do the overall risk again as a legend. And let's go right away to the markers here. Let's go high, low, and medium, same colors again. Here, kind of like the sizing of these, so I'm okay with it. For the sake of what we're doing, and just we could create a dynamic way to keep this consistent, but let's just keep it somewhat consistent. Let's actually go negative 200. Hopefully that allows us to see the whole thing. Maybe it'll be 300. Yeah, negative 300 to, so it goes to 8,000. 7,800. Yeah, that's fine. And then the most incidents here is 64 claims. So let's go for the y-axis. We'll do the same thing. We'll do, I don't know, negative 10. Nope, don't need to do that. Negative 2. Okay. We'll go up to 65. 70. There we go. Right. feel like we could use some borders on these. I don't know. Oh, I see. Can't turn on the border. That's okay. Okay. And then I'm okay actually keeping the X and Y axis. Let's go ahead and change this title a bit. We'll just say cost per claim. I'm going to say claims and cost per claim by cause. If you hover, everything's in the right format. This is good. Okay. So maybe make it a little bit more large. The other one. All right, and now let's do some final formatting. Let's start final formatting. Let's go ahead and insert a text box. Just, we'll go with Georgia. I love Georgia as a title font. Let's just go with 28. We'll say workout Wednesday 2022 week 10 risk matrix. Let's actually make this smaller, see if we can make this look better. I actually make that title smaller. It's a bit too big. Yeah, let's do it that way. I like the way everything interacts, though. I do want to change this to filter. Just feel better. Interesting here. Data labels. Let's see if we can change the format. Uh, 0 to 2. Let's see. Let's go 2. Okay. Now when I click on this, all right, that's better. Okay, and then same thing here. I don't want to. There we go. Sometimes it's a little finicky. We'll bring this up to match a little bit. It's not like the cleanest, but it, you know, it works fine. So there you can see there's nothing. All right, this is working okay. All right. Cost per claim needs to be fixed here. Cost per claim. It's x-axis. Total cost. It's better cost per claim. Let's make 2. And we'll fix the x-axis. I don't like It's got 2 there. Let's get rid of that. Total cost is still weird, huh? I think that fixes it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me this week. I might make a couple small formatting changes here before I publish, but that is the challenge. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, feel free to pass any questions, either DM me on Twitter or reach out to us via the Workout Wednesday comment section. Thanks so much and see you next time.